Hey friends, my name is Jed Dorsey here with Blick Art Materials, and I wanted to talk to you today about color and how you can simplify what you're doing and your color choices by using a limited palette. If you're an acrylic painter and you want to do more with your work, you want to create subtle colors, you want to have, just a really nuanced painting, I think that this will be a helpful thing for you. So first, let's talk about what supplies you will need. Okay, like I said, I'm going to be using 3 primary colors: yellow, red, and blue. These are Utrecht brand paints, very heavy bodied, love them. They're thick, buttery, creamy. And I've got here cadmium yellow light, I've got quinacridone red, and I have ultramarine blue. Now, it doesn't matter so much what colors you pick as long as you have a blue, a red, a yellow. I also have titanium white and Mars black. With these few tubes of paint, I will be able to create about 90% of all the colors that are out there. The next thing you're going to need is something to paint on, apply the paint to, and this is a Blick canvas panel. Simply a nice cotton canvas wrapped over a board, and very easy to use, simple, lightweight, and thin, which means you can stack them well. We're going to do our experiment on this. Now the next thing you'll need are some brushes. I have 2 flats right here. They've got this kind of straight edge, long bristle. These are Princeton brushes. They're called Catalyst, and they have something called a polytip bristle, which means that it almost like has a split end here on the end. And they are very firm, yet they're kind of soft. That's why I love them so much. Last but not least, you will want to have something like this. This is a Masterson Stay Wet palette. It has a lid that has a groove in it so that it can snap down over top of this plastic box, which is the main painting palette area. Underneath, you'll find that it comes with some paper, and there's a sponge that comes with it. Now, why this is so important, and you can learn more about this and read more about this, but this paper is a special kind of paper that's permeable. This sponge is soaked with water, and when you put the sponge down and you put the paper over the top and the paper has been saturated, when you put paint down on this palette, it will stay moist and wet and mixable for hours, even days. You can see that I've used this paper before, because when I'm done with a painting, I'll often just scrape off the paint, maybe wash out the sponge, and restart with the paper as it is. This is very important for your mixing in acrylic paints, because if you use something like this, or even a paper plate or something like that, you would find that your paint would dry very fast, and you would never be able to go back in and pick up any of those colors that you had previously mixed if you had waited more than 10 minutes or so. So this enables you to keep mixing back into old colors for a long period of time. Okay, so I think that's enough on the supplies. Now what we're going to do is a little bit of an experiment. It's an assignment. It will help us understand the way that these colors that we've chosen work together. And once we grab that and get hold of that in our heads, we'll be able to create paintings that are harmonious without even really thinking about it. So here, let's jump right in. Okay, the first thing I'll do is lay out the primaries, yellow, red, and blue, and I'm going to mix the secondary colors, violet, orange, and green. Now I'm doing this so that I'll have a steady place to draw my colors from as I mix them onto the canvas. It's going to go kind of fast, so I'll try to lead you through the process here. I put down my primaries in the circle, kind of where I would think they'd go on a color wheel. Then I'll mix down my secondary colors, and I just start mixing gradations kind of between those, and you'll see that I start drawing fairly straight lines. That's a bit of a curve, but the idea here is to mix from one to the other, from red to red-orange, from yellow to yellow-orange, to orange. And then as I get that triangle finish, I'm going to start mixing more grayish tones. If you mix blue and orange and you mix a little bit of white in, it's going to be a grayed down color there. And as you make those gradations going more towards orange or more towards blue, it'll be a gray that leans towards that color. And that's essentially what I do in this whole process, is I just start working my way around the whole palette. I am just simply creating colors that are nuanced, that are subtle, and that work with the colors that are around it. I'm slightly changing and adjusting with each brush stroke, with each color that I put down. I'm trying to adjust it a little bit. As I fill in the triangle here, you'll see that I will actually start moving away from adding white temporarily, and I'll actually start adding black, and I'll start making a darker set of colors around the outside. And again, this is just showing you the variation of color that you can get just with 3 primary colors and white and black. And all of these colors work together. All of them are nuanced. I'm starting to mix more grayish colors. I'm mixing more white in and seeing what can happen. I don't think that you could actually mix anything that isn't going to be beautiful, that isn't going to be subtle, that isn't going to be nuanced, and that won't work within your whole painting. This is a wonderful exercise, and you can do it over and over again. Now here's the really cool thing. You can do this with a whole bunch of different colors. You don't just have to use the 3 that I chose, like cadmium, yellow light, and quinacridone red, and ultramarine blue. You can choose cadmium yellow deep, you can choose aerolite yellow, you could choose cadmium red, you could choose naphthol red, you could choose phthalo blue, cobalt blue. You can even do different things with alternating more interesting colors, different not traditional, reds in and stuff like that. And I'm going to show you right here how that works. You can see here that I've done, this is the same 3 colors. It's cadmium yellow light, quinacridone red, and ultramarine blue, the same as this. Now this, I made more distinct lines in this, but it's the same idea. This one though is cadmium yellow light, this is cadmium red, and this is phthalo blue. And you can see how different these colors are. This green is much different than this and that. And this orange is a little bit different than these. And this one here is actually cadmium yellow light, burnt sienna, and phthalo blue. I decided what would happen if I used burnt sienna as my red instead of a more traditional red. And you can see that it's all working together, and how different our paintings would be if we chose to use this versus this, or if we chose to use this red versus that red, or this blue versus that blue. All of it will make a big difference, and we can learn how to mix all these varieties of grays and neutral colors and beautiful greens and beautiful blue greens and violets and all these colors just from that simple 3-color palette plus white and black. I hope that was very interesting for you. I know that whenever I do those experiments, those assignments, they teach me, they help me to grow, and they help me to see colors that I've never really seen before, and I learn how to mix colors effectively. Again, my name is Jed Dorsey. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can come see me at my website, jedddorseyart.com, or you can find me at acrylicuniversity.com, where I teach people how to paint. So for Blick Art Materials, thank you for being here. I hope you learned a lot and had a good time. I know that I did, and I look forward to seeing you the next time.